A new day begins, and what happens today must be covered, reported, and passed on to everyone in the region we serve. We bring the world in our region to your computers, your phones, your business, and your home. We cover news of the day and life as it exists in your world. Who are we? We are HD Media, trustworthy and always here for the times we live in.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
Welcome into the Press Virginia podcast, presented by Warner Law Offices. Give them a call today at 345-6789. I'm Anthony Lewis, and joining me from the University City of Morgantown, West Virginia, Coach Billy Hahn. How you been, Coach?
Hey, Anthony. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. The sunshine was out today, so it was a good day, man. I'm not a big fan of the winter, and if I don't have basketball, I kind of go nuts. That's really what gets me through the week is WVU basketball, because it's 2 or 3 times a week, and because I'm not a fan of the winter. I'm not a fan of the winter at all.
I hear that.
Well, West Virginia last Saturday, I texted you right after, heartbreaker.
Yeah, unbelievable heartbreaker.
Yeah, West Virginia's now sitting at 9-4, and had every opportunity to knock off a top 5 team at home, which we talk about it all the time. You win your home games and you pray to split on the road to have a successful season.
Right.
Home losses are tough.
Well, this is crazy, Anthony. I think people watched that game on national TV and they saw that we had winning that game for 39 and 50 seconds, 40 seconds. And we lose the game and we move up in the rankings. Think about that one.
Yeah.
I told somebody it might not be bad that we have this coronavirus going on now, so we didn't have to play Baylor on Tuesday night, and we don't have to play for another 2 more games because we can get healthy, because we got a lot of people that are banged up pretty good. I think we get healthy. I think it might make us better when we are allowed to play again and we're allowed to come back. So I know that Derek Culver, I know he's been having back problems and he's been beaten up so much inside all the minutes he's been playing, and how bad he gets beat up inside, that he's been having back problems. I know Sean McNeil's has had problems with a toe situation, and he'll have some time to rest that and get that better. Deuce McBride has been banged up and nicks and knacks because of all the minutes he's been playing. I mean, he's been a trooper. He's playing 37, 38 minutes a game. He doesn't come off the floor, so he's banged up a little bit. So we got our little nicks and knacks and little problems that everybody has. And I think this timeout might help us all get healthy and make us 100% better when it's time to come back and play.
Yeah, just looking at the minutes here, Derek Culver played 35 minutes against Texas, and McBride played 36 minutes. And then it doesn't, Taz played 29 minutes. McNeil played 26 minutes on a bum toe. So, Yeah, so this is a good opportunity for them to kind of get healthy and get ready for the next stretch in the Big 12, because, in this league, we say it all the time, there are no nights off in this basketball league. Here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the home stretch of that game. It seemed like West Virginia would get up 10, and a very good Texas team would shoot their way back into it. And that last minute I don't know if you've been able to talk to Hugs or you've talked to any of the guys, but that last minute was pretty disastrous as far as chain of events that kind of led to that final three that closed it out. And let's start with this. First of all, with about a minute to go, and this worried me, and I even said, I hope Culver doesn't end up with the ball because they're going to foul him, and they're going to put him on the line. And he got the ball with about 10 feet away, and instead of kicking it back out, he opted to dribble in, and that's when he got fouled to go to the basket and missed the front end of the 1-on-1. I was really hoping that he was going to kick that ball back out.
Yeah, I think you live and you learn. I'm sure that they've watched the tape on that, and I'm sure Hugs has explained to him it's probably better that he kick it out the next time.
Yeah.
And similar thing happened down the stretch when Emmett Matthews misses 2 shots. He gets the rebound, and he doesn't throw it back out either. And everybody's trying to blame Emmett Matthews. I say, hey, listen, Dave, don't blame Emmett Matthews. I mean, he's one of your better free throw shooters, so everybody misses. Well, they should have thrown it back out. I said, well, listen, if he threw it back out, they're going to foul immediately, so somebody's going to have to make the free throws.
Yeah.
Whether it's Emmett Smith again or whoever he threw the ball out to. I mean, who knows? So I get tired of fans and people trying to blame individuals for what happened. That's basketball. That's how it goes. That's how the game works. If you watch college basketball, and I watch a lot of basketball, the game of basketball is played in spurts, and there's spurt time in basketball. So you could be up 12 points. The next thing you know, it's a 4-point game.
Right.
That other team had a spurt. I can't wait. You watch the game tonight between Texas and Texas Tech. Watch that game. That game comes on at 9:00 tonight on ESPN2. You watch that game. That's going to be a game of spurts. That'll be a very close game before it's all said and done. And it's almost who gets the last spurt time that wins college basketball games. It's amazing how it works.
Were you shocked to see how easy Texas was able to just drive to the hoop on a Bob Huggins team? I've never seen a team just take it right to the hole on a West Virginia team before. And Texas is they were fast. That was a fast basketball team.
We've had problems this year more so than every year that I can remember of guarding straight line drives and people taking us to the rim and finishing in a straight line drive to the rim. We've had problems with that big time this year. And our second problem this year, I felt, has been in the past, we've always been able to take things away from people and be up in the passing lane and making the next pass a very difficult pass. And we've sort of quit guarding people to the point where people are throwing the ball wherever they want to throw it. When they do that, we're not going to have very much success. And we don't guard straight line drives, we're not going to have very much success. If you see us guarding the ball and you see us taking away reversal passes, we're a pretty hard team to beat, no matter what happens. But those two things has been the glaring mistake this year. And if we can fix that, I wouldn't want to play us. Anybody in the country won't want to play us. And you know what? I look back, Baylor's number one. The team that played Baylor the best, don't you? It was us. We lost to Baylor by 5 points. Kansas got beat by them pretty good. Baylor's beating everybody by double figures. Go back and look at our Baylor score and look at our Baylor game. We were in that game all the way, man. That game was in Indianapolis on a neutral court. We played Baylor as tough as anybody.
Or Gonzaga. You're talking Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. My bad. Gonzaga I'm talking about, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
The West Virginia Gonzaga game has been the closest for them this year. And, of course, being in the conference that they're in, they're not going to see any really tough competition for a while.
I agree.
That's why they played a lot of tough games out of conference. I do agree with you. West Virginia's having trouble guarding the straight line drive, but there were a couple of defensive stands in that Texas game where I thought West Virginia was playing some of the best defense I've seen them play all year. I think they had a few shot clock violations and also just played some lockdown D. So if they can just stop that, I get it. Everyone gets beat on the dribble from time to time, but there was just no backside help a few times. And I don't know if that's just guys afraid, especially Culver, afraid to get fouls because he knows there's not a lot of other big guys. I'm not sure what the thought process is there, but sometimes I'm just like, man, knock him on his ass. Knock somebody on their ass and make them afraid to come in the middle.
I think the other big problem, Anthony, is that there's no consistency in the refereeing, and players have a tough time figuring out how's this crew going to call the game tonight? How's this crew going to call the game tonight? I mean, it changes from game to game. Absolutely.
It takes them a few minutes to adjust.
Exactly.
I don't know, and of course I don't want any names mentioned, but do you have any idea of like how rampant the COVID issue is over at the Coliseum? I know that they said they're going to be able to do some practicing, but it's just a one or two guys.
I don't know what individuals, but I heard they had 3 players that they went through a stage earlier in the year where they had it, and now the second time around, it's not players that have had it before. These are players now that didn't have it the first time around, and I heard there's 3 guys that have it. They don't have it bad, and it's not anything that's serious where they'd have to been put in the hospital or anything like that. But they do have it, and once you have it, that goes to the Big 12 office and everything. You can't play for, I think it's 10 to 14 days.
Yeah, I think you have to test negative twice.
Exactly. That's what I heard, yeah.
Well, again, they'll take some time off and get ready to play, I believe, K-State in 2 weeks.
Right.
And like you said, a couple of the guys are kind of banged up, dealing with some toe issues, so this might be a good time to take a break. Our guest tonight is Darris Nichols, who will face the Florida Gators here in a few weeks. And when somebody says Darris Nichols, what kind of comes to mind for you, being that he was a senior on your first team at West Virginia?
He was the ultimate point guard. He was a coach's dream. That when we had him and he played point guard for us, you knew the ball was not going to be turned over. You knew the play was going to be run the right way. You knew that he was going to deliver the pass to the right person at the right time.
I would say in the last 20 plus years, and maybe 25 years, in my opinion, probably the best all-around point guard West Virginia's had. Just being the things you mentioned, was able to shoot the ball, didn't turn the ball over well, and and then again in his senior season had to play some defense because Huggins was in town.
Yeah, he was the true definition of a point guard. I mean, the true definition. If you put up point guard in the dictionary, Darris Nichols' face could be right there.
Right. Javon Carter, too. But, you guys played.
But not a true point guard.
Right. He was not a true point guard.
No.
Guard. Well, I'm excited to get him on the phone. So let's take a quick break, and we'll talk to him.
Okay.
But when we come back, after we interview Darris Nichols, write this phone number down. It's for the Dell Sparks Collection Text to Win contest. The phone number, 681-231-2632. Again, 681-231-2632. When we come back, Florida Gators assistant coach and also former WVU point guard Darris Nichols will join us after this.
Support the Press Virginia podcast by shopping at PressVirginia.com.
You've been in an accident. It's time to call Warner Law Offices. We've recovered millions and millions of dollars for car accident victims. Don't settle for the insurance company's low offer. Call us today. No upfront cost, free consultation, and no fees until we win your case. Warner Law Offices, when you need justice.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-678-9.
A new day begins, and what happens today must be covered, reported, and passed on to everyone in the region we serve. We bring the world in our region to your computers, your phones, your business, and your home. We cover news of the day and life as it exists in your world. Who are we? We are HD Media, trustworthy and always here for the times we live in.
Do you have cold floors in your home? It may be time to insulate your crawl space because cold air is rising into the rest of your home. Alford Home Solutions can fix this problem. Go to alfordhomesolutions.com today to book your free insulation estimate. We'll examine the floor and the walls of your crawl space to see where the cold air is coming in. And then we'll block it out with one of our exclusive insulation products so we can make your home more comfortable. Winter is coming. Don't wait. Insulate.
Yo, what's up, Mountaineer Nation? It's John Flowers, aka J Flow, and you're listening to the Press Virginia podcast with Billy Hahn.
Welcome back to the Press Virginia podcast featuring Billy Hahn. And don't forget, our friends at Alford Home Solutions can fix any of your issues with cold floors. It may be time to insulate your crawl space because cold air is rising into your home. Alford Home Solutions can fix this issue. Go to alfordhomesolutions.com for a free estimate. Winter is coming. Don't wait. Insulate. And joining us on the phone from the Sunshine State of Florida, Coach Darris Nichols. How you been, Coach?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, D. Nice. Thanks for joining us.
Yep, no problem.
Well, first and foremost, kind of catch us up. What's going on with the Gators, and how are things down there? How are you guys doing with the COVID issues, and how are things down in Gainesville?
It's been up and down. I mean, as it has been for a lot of people and teams over the course of the year. Just dealing with some stuff from our star player Keontae Johnson and and trying to not forget about what happened, but move forward what happened. With him collapsing in the Florida State game, that was probably one of the hardest things I've been through, not only in coaching but in life, just seeing that happen. And so, just trying to keep our guys focused and hold our team together has been kind of hard the last few weeks, but we're moving forward now.
That was a devastating thing that happened. I could only imagine what it was like for everybody to be there in person, because I was watching that game as well, D-Nice. I had that game on TV. Yeah. I was watching it, and I couldn't believe what I saw. What's crazy is he had just dunked the basketball, a big-time alley-oop dunk on the other end, correct?
Yep, he did. And we were actually coming out of a timeout. I think that was one of the plays, is momentum play, and I don't know who called a timeout, but we were coming out of a timeout when it happened.
To see the close-ups from your team and the close-ups from Florida State's team, and to see you guys, the players, actually tearing up and shedding tears. I'm sitting in my chair watching. I told my wife, I said, Kathy, watch this. This is absolutely amazing. And it just blew my mind.
Yeah. No, it's something that, I had never been through. And, just the feeling of it was crazy. And then, obviously our guys' emotions and everybody's emotions. We asked our guys a few times, he's like, do y'all still want to play? And they kept saying, yeah, we want to play. And it's one of those situations everybody's like, why would you guys keep playing? And this, there's no playbook to make the right or wrong decision in that situation. The guys just felt like they could play, and they wanted to play for him. So, I mean, that's the decision we made.
Absolutely. It's interesting, and just from the outsider's perspective, and I've got, I grew up, I played football, baseball, and never at a high level or anything, but I still have coaches, even little league coaches, that I reach out to, and as a coach, I think that was one of those moments where it was just more than a game. I think it was a more than a game for everybody across the country watching that. Can you just talk about like your connection with the guys that you're working with, and then your connection to your former coaches? I mean, obviously you jumped on tonight with Coach Hahn, and I know you've got connection with Coach Beeline, but can you just talk about that? It's more than a game when something like that happens.
I mean, it is. I mean, and it's more to the game before something like that happens.
Right.
But, when things like that happen, and I'm sure, Coach Hahn, he's been through a lot in his coaching career. Things like that, you remember who you were with when it happened. You remember, how people responded to those situations. So just, regardless of whatever happens the rest of the season with our team, we're going to remember this team forever, just about, the resiliency and how we bonded together and stayed together. And, now the good thing about it is, Keontae's with us every day in practice. He's doing scouting reports. He's engaged with the team. So, I told our guys the other day, it's crazy. We played Ole Miss, and I said, have you guys noticed Keontae's, like, during game days, he's more quiet than he usually is? And they said, yeah. And I said, because, he wants to be on the court. Mm-hmm. So I think as people, sometimes over time, you can become ungrateful. So I just wanted them to remind them that, Coach Hahn says all the time, count your blessings. So, I mean, you look at Keontae over there with headphones on, and he's quiet and he's kind of to himself. He really wants to be out there. So I just think that, looking at him every day, we're grateful. And I know he feels the same way.
Absolutely. Let's go back a little bit in time, and let's talk about, you're from Radford, Virginia, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And let's just talk about going from Radford to Morgantown and the coaching change and that type of thing. And I really specifically want to ask you about the game-winning shot against Mississippi State. But first, can you talk about the recruiting process and how you ended up in Morgantown?
Yeah, it was crazy. Because John Beeline, he was at Richmond at the time, and he recruited me as a freshman. So I just maintained a relationship with him. Then he ended up getting the West Virginia job, and he continued to recruit me. And he hired a guy named Bill Lilly. And Bill Lilly was the director of ops at Radford University, where I'm from. And then he went with John Beeline to West Virginia. And so I had a connection with him. And he always told me, he said, the thing about the state of West Virginia, if you go there and you do everything right and you win, the people in that state will remember you forever. And it at the time you think like, yeah, that's a cool thing. But like now that really makes a lot of sense, because that's the feeling I get about the state of West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
D-Nice, let's continue taking the listeners from the time you got to West Virginia.
Yep.
And take them through your playing days and the highlights of your playing days. Take them from playing for Beeline to Coach Huggins.
Yep.
Working with Coach Huggins as a grad assistant. Let's just to you when you played overseas. Take us through your entire process of where you are right now. How it got you where
you are. Yeah. So I mean, the first three I was playing for Beeline, and then, when he left, I thought that was the worst thing in the world, and it was crazy because when he left, it was during the NIT. I guess people started hearing rumors about it. Beeline's leaving. I heard he's leaving. And for us, I never heard that because social media wasn't around.
Right.
So everybody's like, you didn't hear that going on? I'm like, no, I had no idea. And then, when he decided to leave, we were all together. And then I called a team meeting, And, I tried to hold it together, the best I could. Because I think we were without a coach for maybe 2 weeks. I don't know how long it took Hugs to accept the job or whatever was going on behind the scenes, but it seemed like it was 2 weeks. And then so we hear rumblings that, Huggins was going to come. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, how am I going to fit in, the way he plays? And, I think the biggest thing that he did was he was adaptable to who he had. And I think he watched West Virginia, because he loves West Virginia. He played there. So he kind of knew who he had and what he had going into it. So for me, looking back on that, at the time I thought, Beeline leaving was the worst thing that could possibly happen. But as I fast forward into my coaching career, you have two unique coaches who have two different styles and personalities that I've been able to kind of go back and forth between and kind of formulate my own identity, but also taking bits and pieces of what I've learned from playing for them and working for Hugs. So, that was year 4, playing for Hugs. And then I went to Hungary. So I was over in Hungary playing professionally for maybe, was it 6 months? And then I blew out my knee. And then I went back to Morgantown, was rehabbing. I was actually valeting cars at the waterfront, trying to make some money because I didn't make that much money when I was playing over there. So, trying to make money, trying to rehab, try to sign another deal overseas. And then I think it was Josh Howler approached me. He said, "Hey, what do you think about coaching?" And my dad's a coach. My brother's a coach. I didn't want to stop playing. And then Hugs was like, I think you ought to, give us a good look at it. So then I was going over to the facility, kind of seeing what coaches do. As a player, you don't really understand what coaches do. You think they play on the computer all day. You don't really know the real details of being a coach. So I kind of got the real look at what it was. And then I said to myself, I can see myself doing this. And then Hugs offered me the grad assistant spot. Once I got the itch of continuing to play out of my system. So, and then I was the grad assistant for 1 year. Went to Northern Kentucky after that for 2 years. And then I went to, where'd I go? I went to Wofford for 1 year. And then I was at Louisiana Tech for 1 year. And this is going on year 6 at Florida.
D-Nice, how about your connection with Mike White? How did you get to Louisiana Tech?
It's crazy because I always tell people you never know. So that connection with Mike White goes back to Hugs. Mike White worked for Andy Kennedy at Ole Miss. Obviously, Andy Kennedy worked for Hugs. We knew all the same people. So when I was at Northern Kentucky, I was out at recruiting a junior college event. I was out at Hutchinson, Kansas, and I went out to dinner. I didn't know who Coach White was. I had no idea. I went out to eat with Bill Armstrong, who's assistant at LSU now, Jake Hedrick. So I went out to eat with all of those guys, and I wrote after I had dinner with them. I wrote them a handwritten note. Just nice to meet you. Looking forward to following your progress. All that stuff, and you fast forward a few years later, he has 2 open spots on his staff. So the first guy he hired was Jordan Mincy. So me and Jordan Mincy have known each other since college. We used to scrimmage against each other when he was at Kent State and I was at West Virginia. And then so Coach White says, "Hey, Jordan, what do you think about Darris Nichols?" And he says, "Oh, you need to hire him." And so Coach White also remembered the handwritten note from that dinner. And so I always just tell people, you just never know who can help you or hurt you.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yep.
And you know what, Darris? In the 40 years I coached, I believe this from the bottom of my heart that in recruiting, in relationships, in friendships, whatever you do, I think follow-up probably one of the most important things to the success that a person has. I swear it's all about follow-up.
Yep, for sure.
Yep.
What is it like for you coaching? And if I remember correctly, when you were at Wofford, you faced West Virginia. But, here, I guess in a few weeks, West Virginia's scheduled to play against the Gators. What's it like for you, kind of being on that other side of the bench and coaching against the Mountaineers? I know you're a true blue Mountaineer, but you've got a job to do. But what's it like for you, especially the first time when you're sitting on the other side of that bench?
It's different because I think I've only played against West Virginia once at West Virginia. So this would be the second time. But it's different because obviously I watch the guys and I root for West Virginia for fun. So if they're on TV, I'm just watching for fun. But now it's different because you're watching and you're trying to win the game. I don't know. It's gonna feel different. But when you get down to it, in this business, you have so many close friends, relatives that you run into situations like this all the time, and then you understand it's just you're doing your job, but at the same time, it's going to be exciting.
Hey, Anthony, I'll give you a great one, Anthony, and Darris will appreciate this. When we played Florida at Florida, was that last year? What was that? 3 years ago?
That was I think that was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. It's been 4 years already.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we play at Florida, and I think Darris had the scouting report for us because we were West Virginia, and I think he probably had an advantage of knowing the calls and everything. I want to tell you something now, Anthony. That game, they actually they pulled our pennies down and spanked our bottoms like we'd never been spanked before. And I tell you what now, my man D-Nice, he had us scouted like, oh my God. It was amazing. Every play we ran, how he defended every player, how they got up and helped and created mercifulness to make a pass to any way we wanted to pass the basketball. D-Nice had us scouted like unbelievable.
Well, I guess that it just kind of shows you that all those extra nights when he's up watching the Mountaineer games, it's comes in handy.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I do want to go back for a minute and correct me if I'm wrong. Did you when Hugs came in your senior year? Did I read it in the paper that he had Nick Van Exel come in and work with you?
No, that may have been Missoula.
Okay, I just seemed like I remember maybe reading the paper at the time, but
no, I'm a huge Nick Van Exel fan though.
Right. Well, and here's what I do want to ask you about the NIT team that won the NIT. Mm-hmm. I believe you guys beat Clemson in the final. That team is probably, when I think of teams getting jobbed for the NCAA tournament, would you agree with me that you guys should have probably been in the tournament that year?
Yeah. Think about this. So that year we beat UCLA at home, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That was that year. Yeah, we beat UCLA at home. So the selection committee, this is what the selection committee said on Sunday or whatever. West Virginia has some good quality wins. Their best quality win, has an asterisk by it because UCLA was without their starting point guard. So their starting point guard is Darren Collison. You know who their backup point guard was?
Who was it?
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
get out of here.
Yeah, that's right. He was on that team.
So the selection committee and all the experts said that win is not a quality win because they were without Darren Collison.
Did that make you guys hungry going into that NIT tournament? I know there's disappointment when you don't get into the tournament, but you had to be out to prove something.
You know what? Not really. I'm gonna be honest, because at the time it's like you're feeling like, okay, everybody's singing NCAA tournament, And then the way the NIT works, it's like, okay, you figure out who you're playing late at night, and then you probably play this quick turnaround is Tuesday, and then, you playing somebody who, you can beat. So you kind of just going through the motions. So we weren't very excited. We didn't get excited until we got to New York City, and then we were excited.
I always felt when I played and I coached, there wasn't very many times the places I was didn't get an NCAA bid, but I was participants a couple of times in NIT. I always felt the NIT tournament reminded me of someone kissing their sister, and the NCAA tournament was, by golly, you were kissing your girlfriend and your steady girl back with the NCAA tournament. That NIT was second rate all the way. That's the way I still feel. I mean,
you know what?
It's a loser's tournament, man.
You get excited when you actually get to New York City,
right?
And then when the NCAA tournament's not going on and people still want their basketball fix, you're playing on that day.
That makes sense. Absolutely, I can understand that. Yes,
and of course,
here's what I want the listeners that I got a couple pretty hard and questions for D-Nice. I'm thinking about this all day. All right,
you might have been thinking about it all night. You texted me late last night.
Well, I did. I woke. See, that's what happens when you get my age, D-Nice. You wake up at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, dog. When you gotta go up, you gotta go to the bathroom or something. You guys can still sleep. You can sleep through the night and not have to get up anymore. Well, I do about 3 times. But anyway, here's my first question. I'm trying to recall. I tried to get this all day and last night.
Mm-hmm.
Did Hugs ever put you on the treadmill?
No.
You never got on the treadmill, did you?
And I never got on the treadmill. I don't know. You know what? It might have been. This is the thing. It might have been a line over there. E-Mart might have had all them other dudes over there on the line. So sometimes everybody be at the treadmill, and we would have everybody in practice. So, but no, I never got on the treadmill.
I was thinking, I go, you know what? I don't ever remember seeing D-Nice on the treadmill or D-Nice being sent to the treadmill. Now,
you know what? When I come up there, I'm gonna take a picture on it.
Yeah. Hey, here's my crazy thing, D-Nice. Tell our listeners what that treadmill line looks like.
It's a lot of people in there. I mean, if you could be on there for pretty much anything.
Oh boy, they named that treadmill station now where we got it. That's the Wellington Smith. Do you stay in touch with all your teammates and former teammates? You like have
we
text
talk
group and stuff?
We talk so much. I have to mute the group chat. Like they're muted. Like I still read the messages, but it just doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make any noise or vibrate when they talk.
Right. My next question to you is this, and don't sugarcoat this. I mean, I want your true feeling. Obviously, I want exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
Say down the road,
mm-hmm.
5 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever. Would you like to be back in Morgantown coaching the Mountaineers someday?
For sure.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah. Why would I have to sugarcoat that?
Well, I don't know. I just sometimes I think like Joe Mazzulla. I asked Joe Mazzulla that. Swear to God, and I'm dead serious about this. Joe Mazzulla told me that he would not want to be back in Morgantown coaching the Mountaineers because he doesn't like. This is Joe Mazzulla telling me he doesn't like college basketball. He's a pro guy. He's an NBA dude now.
Yeah, Joe told me the same thing. I mean,
he told you the same thing, huh?
Yeah, but some people don't like the college game. Some people don't like the pro game.
Right.
I think it's two totally different professions. Same sport, different professions.
Yeah, it is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would think that there's a lot of extra stuff that goes into the college game, just having to deal with the recruiting aspect and the travel for the recruiting and and making sure these guys are going to class and all that fun stuff.
I mean, as a college coach, you spend more of your time being the general manager in the front office.
Right.
You know, in the NBA, you have people that already do that, and so you coach the team, and that's what you get paid to do. You know, for us, we're trying to figure out who's going to be on our team next year.
That's good.
Next question. Compare Beeline playing for him, compared to playing for Hugs, compared to coaching with Mike White. Personality-wise, how they coach, how they are with their players, etc.
I would say the thing about, I'm gonna go down the line. I'm gonna say the thing about Beeline is everything he did, terminology, play calls, everything had a story behind it.
Right.
So I think you remember stuff with him and it sticks with you because of that.
Right.
I think he's really good at skill development. You know, shooting, all of that stuff.
Right.
And I think Hugs is an unbelievable storyteller as well. I think his stories resonate with you, and he can bring the past with the present really well. So he can remember something that happened when he was coaching at Walsh College and equate that to something that's going on right now in 2021. And I think the thing about Hugs is, with him, he kind of teaches you, you know, to move on to the next play. Like, I always remember playing for him. Like, I never felt like we did enough. And he always demanded more. And it was like, okay, we had a big win. And now he understood what our mentality was. And he's talking about the next game. And I'm like, we're trying to celebrate this one. You know, it was like, we can't celebrate this one. And I understand it now.
Right.
But I think he's a master motivator.
He sure is.
I think the teams that we had, you know, obviously when he first got there, he made a comment. He said, "Man, I've never had this many dudes that can't guard." He said, "But you know, I've never had this many dudes that can make shots either."
Yeah.
So I think he took us and demanded that we guarded, because if you look at our numbers, I went back and looked at our numbers from Beeline's year to Huggins' first year, and we had basically had the same people, but our rebounding was like, with Beeline, we was like ranked 293 in rebounding, and then when Hugs came in, we was like top 25. Right. So I think it's more so, you know, what you demand, and he demanded so much out of us that we didn't know we could do. And I think with Coach White, like, the main thing that, and I think it's with the times right now, he always tells us, you know, you got to re-recruit your guys every day. Right. You know, especially this generation now, like, basically you just have to be more involved. Because if you're not talking to them, somebody's talking to them. And, you know, I'm not trying to say that right now, you know, because of, you know, the West Virginia situation, but there's always somebody that's talking to these guys. And you think about when I played to where they play now, if somebody in the world wants to get in contact with one of these players, they have access to do it.
Wow. I know what that's so true right now. What's going on, man?
Yeah. Easy access just between Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it.
And we didn't have that. When I was playing, you had to get on Facebook on the computer. It wasn't even on your phone yet. So, I mean, if they're not hearing from you, they're hearing from somebody. Yeah.
That's a great line.
That's sort of sad, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah.
I think the loyalty factor of staying true and loyal, that's gone away from our society.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the sports climate. I think you see it in the pro game, and I think it may. And I don't want to point and blame LeBron, but in this younger, you know, in the generation that that are the kids that are playing now, they saw LeBron leave Cleveland to go to Miami to chase a championship. But I'm old. I'm 44. So, but I never saw Jordan leave Chicago, and I never saw Magic leave L.A., and I never saw Bird leave Boston to chase a championship. If you wanted the championship, Bird said, "You come to Boston, we're going to win one." He's not leaving. But nowadays, they, just even today, Harden just left and went to Brooklyn, and he's up there with, guys. So
you can't buy NBA jersey now. Because if you buy one today, in 2 weeks that guy may be gone. So now they have a system I saw where you could trade your jersey in and get some money off. Like if you have a jersey where a guy gets traded.
Unbelievable. Well, Coach, good luck. And first of all, thank you for coming onto the show. I didn't know that Coach Hahn had texted you at 4:00 in the morning.
I didn't know either until I woke up and saw it.
Yeah. But we appreciate you coming on to the show, and good luck on the 30th. I know that it'll be an interesting visit home back to Morgantown. And before I let you go, when you think of Morgantown, what's like your favorite place to go? Because when I think, I don't even know if the places I used to go when I was there are still there. But when you think of Morgantown, you equate what? Keglers. Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah. I need some of the wings. Keglers.
Well, I hope you get a few moments to take off and go over there and get a few wings. I believe there's probably a few photos of you over there as well.
Speaking of Morgantown, D Nice, I got a text message today when they found out that you were going to be on the show tonight. I got a text message from somebody and made sure, he said, make sure you tell D Nice that I say hello. Who do you think that was today from an establishment in Morgantown?
Is it?
You can give me the initials. You can give me the.
my guy Guidi.
My boy Guidi.
My boy Guidi. Yes,
he
sir.
texted me. He says, "Make sure you tell D Nice that Chris Guidi said hello." I said, "I'll definitely do it."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had a few nights at that place, didn't we?
Yeah, a few nights. When the roof caved in on us.
How about that? I tell you what, I've had a few. Hey, we've had a few nights that turn into the morning.
Now you're texting me at 4 a.m.
Absolutely. How about that? Hey, thanks, brother. Yeah. I love you like crazy. Yeah. I can't wait to see you. I can't thank you enough. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Coach.
All right. Love you, dog.
Love you. Andy, we'll see you.
All right. Take care.
All right.
There you have Darris Nichols, assistant coach with the Florida Gators. And actually I forgot to ask him about the shot against Mississippi State in the NIT, Coach. But, he was talking about John Beilein and even Huggins always remembering certain things that happened to him during the time period. And if I remember correctly, the play that John Beilein drew up for him to be open in the corner to hit the game-winning shot at the buzzer was used against him. And Beilein drew it up for Darris in the NIT semifinal, and he drained it. It was quite a moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, well, real quick, if you know the question to this answer, give us a text, 681-231-2632. Again, 681-231-2632. Last week, I worded the question wrong. And so if you actually text in to us, text us again, and I'll get you something out in the mail. We'll get you some stickers or something out in the mail. But this week's text question, from the Dell Sparks collection, text to win trivia question, is the West Virginia Coliseum opened on December 1st, 1970. What band was the first to perform in the WVU Coliseum? Again, that phone number, 681-231-2632. And the question again, the Coliseum opened on December 1st, 1970. What band was the first to perform at the WVU Coliseum? Coach, I want to talk about, I want to get your opinion on something. And, social media is brutal, just brutal. And you see it, I see it. We talk about it from time to time off the show. Within this, with this Oscar thing happening, and I don't even want to talk about him just in general, but I see this comment all the time, and it drives me nuts. People will say, "Well, he'll be destined to go play in Europe or go like that's a bad thing." And I don't think some fans realize that these guys that go play in Europe or in these other countries are making great money being professional basketball players. Do you see when people make that comment?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't think, Anthony, the problem we have in my mind over the years is the fan don't understand everything about the game of basketball and the level of basketball. I think they do, but they don't really know about it. To play in the NBA, I mean, you have to be the elite of the elite of the elite to play in the NBA, along with being at the right place at the right time. There's so many things that go into it. If you don't make the NBA, that does not make you a loser. That does not make you a bad player. That makes you an unlucky basketball player.
Right.
Not being at the right place at the right time, not being drafted by the right team, the needs of that team, so many things that go into it. Going to Europe has been very, very successful for a lot of people and has put a lot of money in a lot of people's pockets by playing in Europe. I mean, it's crazy how much money's going on over there.
Yeah, I know in some situations you can become
players that have made a lot of money and have had a heck of a career by playing basketball in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I know a few situations where you can become a dual citizen, make up to $1.5 million in some areas, because I know in some of those leagues they can only have so many American players. They have to have so many native players. And but you can go and make really good money. So I don't know why that kind of bothers me. I think it's because I know a few guys like Darris who's gone over to Hungary and played, and you look at Alex Ruoff and Joe Alexander who made his money in the NBA, right? But yet he has made a great career for himself in other countries, in Deshaun and down the list. These guys go overseas, Flowers, Jones, and people want to kind of dismiss it, but these guys are making a living. They're not punching a clock every day like me. I go to work every day 8 to 5. You know what I mean? They're making a living and supporting their family and setting their families up for the long haul, playing a game that they love. Drives me crazy. Yep. I don't know why I wanted to rant about that today.
No, that's good. I tell you, that's funny you mention all this because I spoke to Nate Adrian, who's overseas now. He's in Ukraine. He's in Ukraine. I spoke with him, and we exchanged some text messages. And then Chase Harler, he's in Lithuania, and I text messaged him and have been in touch with him. And Nate Adrian, I was inquiring to him. I wanted him to get on the podcast. We had Deshaun Butler, and now we had Darris Nichols tonight. I was asking Nate if he'd be interested, and he's interested, but he couldn't. He can't do it probably for another couple weeks because he says he plays on Wednesday nights. Gave me a couple things. We will get him on the show as well.
Yeah, we'll work with the schedule.
Absolutely. I have no problem. We can get that done. But anyway, those guys have all been super, and they're all playing overseas. And you're right. They're making money. They play 5 or 6 months during the year, and then they come home, and Morgantown is their summer place. And it's amazing what our former players have done and where they're at and how they've made a living.
Yeah, it's better than getting up and punching a clock, which is what I have to do. So, all right, Coach, let's take. There's no game. There we go. There's no games to really talk about this week due to the COVID situation. So next week we'll get some predictions for the upcoming game, which I believe will be K-State is going to be the earliest that the Mountaineers are going to be able to play. But before we take off, we want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, the Warner Law Offices, Alfred Home Solutions, the Dell Sparks Collection, United Bank, and also HD Media and the Charleston Gazette. So I'm going to leave you with the last word this week, Coach.
Well, I will say this like I always say. First of all, everybody that listens to us, spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell everybody about our podcast, Press Virginia Podcast, every Wednesday night at 6:30. That would really help us. I got to thank all of our sponsors, and especially Anthony for getting our sponsors, and our big sponsor being the newspaper down there in Charleston, putting my little thing down there in the corner of the paper. Really appreciate that. But as I always say, great day to be alive. Count your blessings. And if you're worrying, you're not praying. And if you're praying, you're not worrying. So God bless you, Mountaineer fans. We'll see you next Wednesday night for Press Virginia at 6:30 next Wednesday night.
The Press Virginia podcast is produced by Anthony Lewis in partnership with HD Media and the Charleston Gazette Mail. The Press Virginia podcast is presented by Warner Law Offices. Now's the time. Call 345-6789 and is sponsored by United Bank, West Virginia's bank, Alfred Home Solutions, fixing homes inside and out since 1963, the Charleston Gazette Mail, and the Dale Sparks Collection.